Hello Beavers, my name is AJ and I am with BSU Alumni and Foundation, and today I'm sitting here with Sianneh Mulbah. We are at the Lynx and Timberwolves practice facility. Sianneh is a 2004 psychology grad and we're super excited to have her with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here and I'm so flattered that you considered me for this interview.
Of course. So we are here learning a little bit about what you do, and so what does it mean to be a Chief People Officer and a Chief People and Inclusion Officer? Excuse me. That's a new title. Yeah.
For me, it really, like human resources, is we're charged with providing the structure for our employees and our people leaders to create an inclusive environment through multiple layers, right? Through it's how they're managing performance, how they're having conversations, and really just being empathetic leaders, but also providing that kind of the structure of compensation, performance objectives, what kind of culture that we have here. Employee engagement is huge for us, and we work in a fun environment and we really want to reflect that. I'm striving to help us be more strategic in how we approach our people and how we approach our business objectives. And really, our people drive business.
Yes.
So to me, that's really what helps build an inclusive environment.
Absolutely.
It's something I think every HR professional needs within their career, because we can't just focus on the rules, the policies. Like if we're going to make true change for our employees and our organization, we really have to adapt to what the business is doing. And I just happen to be very lucky, and I really enjoy what our business is doing, because we
you all are succeeding.
We get to be a part of success, and we get to have busy, awesome days like this that in the end, like you get to see on a game night, like all that work that you're putting in, like this
coming
is
together.
This is the magic of all that work that we're putting in, because I think all of us are a little competitive, so we all want to be great, and my role here is to ensure that that structure is there so they can be great.
Tell me more about the inclusivity that you're seeing. As you know, we've talked a little bit off camera about, you know, the Timberwolves and Lynx organization really being at the forefront of lifting up women's sports. And so since you've been here about 13 years, right?
Yes, well, we talk about our years and seasons. So I have been with the Timberwolves for 13 Timberwolves seasons, and we just started my 13th Lynx season. And I actually started 2 weeks before the Lynx won their first championship.
Wow.
So I got to witness that magic that happened the first time afterwards, but then the next three just being a part of seeing spectacular women basketball players just pave the way for the players that you're seeing today. That, I think, helps build our base of inclusivity. We kind of, like I mentioned, everything that we do is equal when it comes to our female team and our male NBA team, but also when we come to the business side of what we do, our leadership team, our executive leadership team is 50% female, 50% male, and we've always had a focus on women in sports.
So how would you describe your style in a nutshell?
Oh, I'm the millennial manager. If you are on TikTok and see those videos, like I am definitely, I strive to be an authentic leader, and just knowing the things that it took me and the different bumps that I experienced throughout my career, I feel like I can relate. And so one of the things I do for all of our new employees is that I meet with everyone within the first 2 weeks, depending on schedule, sometimes it's a month, and it's really just to get to know them. I want to understand where people are. You know, the saying, you meet people where they are. But then that you find in those conversations that, oh, I love reading those types of books too, or I love podcasts. I like doing DIY stuff, but I also, as a mom really young, I experience when it's hard to pay your rent and when there's just roads that are sometimes feeling blocked and how to get over them. And sometimes our employees are experiencing that. And it's okay to have that little bit of vulnerability with how we are managing. So that's something I've had to learn. And that was, being in HR, I think I kind of just had this square block around me where like boundaries were a little too rigid, but once I learned to just, it's okay to be me and be authentic, that's really when I felt like I excelled as a leader.
So Sianneh, you were named a top 50 Black influential business leader by the Minneapolis Business Journal, and so what was it like to win that award?
I would say it was a surprise. I didn't know that it was something that I was nominated for, but it was an honor, definitely, especially if you look at the list of men and women that were included, some of them friends that I was included on the list on, and just seeing all the great things that they're doing. I think when you're in whatever you're doing, you don't see the impact that you're having because you go through the day-to-day of this meeting to the next meeting, and then in HR it's like, oh, this fire, like we have to put it out, but also just how you're impacting the people and community around you. You just don't see it when you're rushing to do a million things every day. So just being a part of that group and seeing that other people see that value in me, it's very reaffirming. It was a blessing to be a part of that list.
Congratulations again on that award.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm kind of speaking to our alums and our students who may be thinking, like, how do I take that jump to be a part of, a large or prestigious organization like the Timberwolves and Lynx? So how did you exactly get this position, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I actually never knew that I could work in human resources in sports, and I didn't aspire to work in sports. I think it's building your network in the industry that you want to be in, as far as like marketing, communications. We have business intelligence, which are analysts that we didn't have that before. So essentially, any career that you're focused on, you can do in sports. We have the operations side where everyone thinks they want to be a scout and they want to be a manager or an agent, but you can get into sports in so many different ways and still be a part of what you see on the court or on the field. But it was exciting, just the idea of, oh, I can really do something that I love in a sport that I do love. Growing up, being around basketball in pretty much every age range that I was in when I was growing up. And so I jumped on it.
So Sianneh, we're going way back in this interview to your time in college. And so what brought you to Bemidji State? How influential was Bemidji State, your time at Bemidji State in your life?
Yeah, so I grew up in Cass Lake, which is not very far from Bemidji State. So I always knew about Bemidji State, and I actually started my college journey at Concordia in St. Paul. I played volleyball there, and then I had my son. And he's going to be 23 this summer. And Bemidji was home, and Bemidji State also offered me the opportunity to be on campus, living in Cedar apartments, and have my son there with me and not miss out on the college experience and not stop my education, it was never a question of if I was going to college. And at that point it was just, okay, how am I going to make this work? And going to Bemidji, going back home where I had family not far away in Cass Lake, and they were all my village, which is just natural to who we are. And they helped me with taking care of my son Christopher until I could get into Cedar apartments. And then once I was there, he attended the daycare, and actually at home now we have a picture that one of the students took of Christopher while he was in the daycare center, and she was a photography student, and it's the original one. And that is framed in our house to this day. It's never been down. So I mean, Bemidji just has a special place in my heart because it allowed me to do this, right? It allowed me to see that I can do all the hard things and be a mom and be young. I was still able, because I had family close, I was still able to have a social network and experience some of the college life while still being a single mom.
Wonderful. So how did you balance, being a mom, but also having that kind of college kid fun?
Yeah.
What did you do on campus for fun?
I don't know if I did as much on campus, but I definitely had on-campus friends that I still am close with today. That I run into in random places around the city. We connect on social media, but definitely taking advantage of the community of Bemidji and the different activities that there are to do there. And I kind of cheat, right? Because I have friends that actually I grew up with in Cass Lake that I was probably spending a lot of time with too, but that was the blessing of being able to go to Bemidji State. I was able to have a full experience, what my full experience looked like for me in my unique situation, which not too unique, but and still get through college and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then when you get out of the environment that you grew up in, you see that it was different, it was magical, and you don't see what people see on the outside, right? Because it's just who you are and what you grew up with and the people you grew up around. So you don't see the differences until you're out of it. I definitely, like when I went to Concordia for my first year, moved to the city, it was 4 hours away. It was culture shock of just being around different people. And I was different even when my experience that I grew up in as a Black woman, but growing up in a Native American community, so biracial, it was a different experience. And I think that I've been able to, as I've grown and been able to really reflect, really take that and make that my strong point.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I think it'll resonate a lot with our students.
I'm super proud of being from Cass Lake.
Yes.
One of my girlfriends, she never says it, but those are my people.
Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
I'd love to get that.
I tell
see
everyone
that photo.
actually.
Really?
Yeah, like, I meet with our new employees, and like when they ask me about my journey, like I am proud of my journey. Right?
Yes.
It was hard, but it's really pushed me to be who I am, to figure things out, and to know that things work out in the end.
Okay, thank you, Beaver Nation, for joining us today. Sianneh, it has been such a pleasure learning from you and being able to engage more in your story.
Thank you so much for having me,
Yes.
and I feel so blessed to be a part of this.
Thank you. All right, go Beavers.